everyone, Tina here. I hope your day's going wonderful. I'm so glad you're joining me. Today I have a fun fall themed project to share with you. We're going to get inky today and we're going to use some Distress Oxide sprays. And we're also using something new from Says Stamp called the Fall Wreath. This is part of their STAMPtember release. And it's such a pretty wreath. And I thought we would create a wreath fairly quickly. I think the inks are going to do all the coloring and all the work for us today. So let's jump in and get started with our 5 easy step card process. First off, we're going to create step number 1, which is our focal point, and that's our wreath. So we're going to do some die cutting with white cardstock, and I'm going to die cut out several sets of these. Okay, we have them die cut out, and there's some pieces that you can punch out. Just want to make sure I get all those punched out now versus when we ink it up. Okay, lovely. Now I'm going to bring in my, aren't these so pretty? It's just gorgeous on a black background. Stunners. Okay, I'm bringing in my spray box, which is just an old card kit box, and we're going to put all of these pieces in here. Okay, the sprays again that I'm using are my Distress Oxide sprays. I have Mermaid Lagoon. This is Fired Brick. I have Abandoned Coral, and I also have Cracked Pistachio. Okay, we're going to start with, let's start with our Abandoned Coral. You have to shake these up really good. Now these go on matte, but I am going to add a little sparkle with another spray. So this is the fun part. The sky's the limit with this stuff. We'll just do some spraying. And then next I'll add my Fired Brick. Kind of do little sections. Next we're going to add Mermaid Lagoon. I'm adding blue because blue is kind of a non-traditional color, but I think it's going to really add to my card because I'm going to have a blue background today. And then we'll add a little bit of Cracked Pistachio. Now I'm going to go back in with my Fired Brick. Go over the blue, kind of tone that down a little bit. Okay, now we're going to add some shine. Now this time we're using some Distress Spritz. This has a shimmer to it. I'm using my Fossilized Amber, and this is going to add a gold warm tone, and it's going to give me some shimmer. I'm going to go over it kind of heavy. There we go. Okay, let's bring in the craft mat. Ideally, you'd want to let these dry, but I'm going to bring in my craft mat because I'm going to use my heat gun, and I'm going to actually help the drying process. So I'm going to break out my heat gun, and I'll be right back. Believe it or not, these dried pretty quickly. Okay, so now I just love the colors of these. We have some beautiful colors, but I'm going to add a little bit of richness to them using a finger dauber, and also my Walnut Stain Distress ink. Okay, what I'm going to do is go around some of the edges with, and this is just going to give it a richness. Let me show you what I mean here. Okay, let me bring in some white cardstock because you can see it better with white. You see how pretty that is? Adding just those little brown touches just makes it a stunner. Okay, I can even add a little bit of brown to the center of some of these. And it just makes all the difference. Let me show you side by side. You see the difference? Just that little brown, what it makes. Now I'm going to continue and we're going to add brown to the rest of these. And those are all done. We're going to put our ink to the side, and now we're going to layer these together. I am going to add foam tape behind them, and we are going to create our wreath. Okay. We're going to layer these together like so, and then I'm going to flip it over. And I'm going to add a little bit more foam tape here. And then we'll do the same thing. Okay. Now, since I'm adding foam tape behind here, what I'm going to do is take this and put it on a piece of release paper. This way my foam tape doesn't this way it doesn't stick, basically. And now we're going to do the same thing. We're just going to keep layering these until we have a nice full wreath. I just think this looks gorgeous. Let me show you up close. And it's really not that bulky. We put a lot of foam tape there, but it's really not that bulky for my cards. If you don't want all that bulk, of course, you can see it's not that bulky. I think this is so gorgeous. Okay, this is our focal point. Now we're going to move along to step number 2 and create our home panel. My home panel today is going to be very simple. I'm bringing in a die set from Says Stamp. This is the artwork grid plate. Okay, and I'm just going to die cut out a panel with this. Okay, I die cut this out. Now I'm going to keep the inside squares. We're going to keep these, okay? But this is my home panel. I'm going to take my home panel and we are going to add our wreath. I got foam tape behind here still. We can add a few more. I'm going to bring back my release paper, and then I'm just going to add my home panel directly to the center of my grid plate here. There we go. Now I'm putting it on my release paper because of the foam tape behind here. I won't have to add any adhesive behind here because it's stuck to my grid. And that is my home panel. Now we're going to move along to step number 3 and create my sentiment. For my sentiment, I'm bringing in, these are the Gratitude sentiment strips from Simon. And I'm going to add 2 to my home panel here. Oops. Let's see. I'm going to add Thinking of You Today, and then I'm also going to be adding Thankful, Grateful, and Blessed. So I'm just going to bring in my paper trimmer and we'll trim these out. Let's trim them. I'm using glue, and we're going to use our wreath kind of as a landing area, so it kind of floats over the top here. But I want the bottom to be joined together. Let me scoot it up a little bit. Okay, before this dries, I'm also going to bring in our Pretty Bows 2 die set. Okay, let's die cut out a bow. I'm going to die cut out a white bow. And I'm thinking this one would be pretty. I'm going to use this one here and some white cardstock, and we'll die cut out this bow. I'll do that. I'll be right back. I'm going to bring in a glue dot here. And I can secure my button to the end. I always think buttons go really good with fall. I don't know what it is. And then I'll take my bow and we will add that to the center of the button. And there we go. And that's our greeting. Okay, now we're going to move along to step number 4 and create our background. That is where these squares come in. Okay, I'm going to bring in my Says Stamp, my marine ink. Okay, we are going to ink up just one side of each of these squares. We're just mixing it up. So this one I have added ink to the corner. This one I added ink to the top. Okay, once we have that done, I'm going to bring back my Distress ink and my finger dauber, and I'm going to go around the edges of each side of these squares. And then I'm also going to die cut out one more grid. Okay, I'll do that and I'll be right back. I do also want to mention that when I was ink blending with my finger dauber and my Distress Walnut stain, I left 2 without ink on it. So 2 of them I didn't ink up. These are the 2 that we're going to put in the middle. And I didn't want any brown ink in here, okay? So the rest of these have a brown border. I'm going to take this frame. I'm sure I'll use it again one day. I like this die. In fact, I'll leave a video of me using this at the end if you guys want to check it out. This is a really nice grid die. It's called the Artwork Grid Plate. But I'm going to layer this on my card front, okay? And then using my glue, okay, so this is inlaid. Now when I inlay the next one, you see how there's a blue at the top and white at the bottom. I'm going to switch it. So this time my blue is on the side and my white is on this side. Okay, I want the blue to be in different patterns, basically. Then we add our last one. Okay, and then we're going to remove our grid. And this is our background. Looks really dimensional, but there is no bulk whatsoever. Love this. Now, of course, hindsight is 2020. And you know what? I didn't think of it. You don't need to add the blue cardstock behind here. That part can be completely skipped. What we're going to do is add glue to the grid areas. And I say that because when we add our home panel, we're just going to cover it right up. So let's go ahead and tack this down. But I think it looks like a cloudy background. Okay, but it kind of brightens everything up. Now we're going to move along to step number 5, which means it's time to embellish. I'm bringing in my assorted Moonshine sequins, and we're going to do a little tucking with these. There's a lot of big ones in the Moonshine, and then there's a lot of smaller cupped ones. The smaller ones we're going to add to our foliage, but the bigger ones we're going to tuck kind of behind it just for a little sparkle peeking out. Okay. Wonderful. It's nice and subtle. We're going to go ahead and just funnel these back in here. And then that will finish that card today. We have a straggler. Super fun autumn wreath. Perfect for the Thanksgiving holiday. Thank you so much for joining me. Thanks for stopping by for another 5 Easy Step card tutorial. Have a wonderful day, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye. Thanks so much for sticking with me to the end. I have 2 more videos that you guys might be interested here. If you guys are new and like the content that you see, click that subscribe button and also the notification bell. That way for future videos, be notified. Also, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. It sure does help the channel. Have a wonderful day. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.